Hey everybody, welcome back. Trying to make a little bit more progress on this 4BT. I've got the mounts welded in. I'll throw some pictures, just a little bit of the welding. I'm TIG welding everything in. I think it's just better penetration and better beads than just running MIG welds down there. But they're fully welded now, and I've got some half-inch threaded rod on a perfect 45-degree angle there, and I'm getting the motor situated again where I want it. Both sides are done. I've got a brace in here on this side, right there, solid plate. So I'm perfectly happy with them. Now I did try, before I put these rods in there, I did try the Anchor brand fluid-filled mounts. Now don't get confused on those mounts there. The Anchor brand is not a top quality brand like Lord. Now we talked a little bit about Lord mounts last time. They're in the aviation business, and and they have mounts, and you know, if you're lucky enough to get them, you know, you can get them in different, you tell them what the weight is that you're going to put on them, and they match the mount to it. It's a very nice way to go. I don't like buying stuff from companies that make it super difficult to get the parts. I've tried numerous times to easily get some Lord mounts, talked with some tech guys there, tried to put an order in. I couldn't get them. It just was one thing after another. Maybe you guys have better luck with them. I didn't have good luck with them, and I don't like dealing with companies that are like that. So let's go back over here. I did put this mount in there. Now when they say fluid filled, there's like a glycol based liquid in there. Not much. But this mount was so squishy. When I put this in there on a 45-degree angle, it squished too much. You could take the engine and just kind of push it around. You know, I've used these before in the past in the flat position like this. Back when I was, you know, building houses and developing properties and stuff. The 4BTs were in a lot of stuff. These were in water pumps and skid steers, you name it. Little machines, little excavators, stuff like that. And I have replaced the mounts. You know, like this 4BT had a mount here. It's got a mount here, and when those Anchor mounts are vertical, they work much better. I thought they were going to be good on a 45-degree angle. I did more research than I think was necessary. I talked to a lot of vibration experts. I talked to a lot of different companies, and they're like, you have to mount your insulators on a 45-degree angle. I agree with that. I think that's a good way to do it. I believe having your mount above the crank center line is also a fantastic idea. That's why I went through so much trouble to make the mounts in the center. So again, I put those in there. I don't have any footage of that. I just got so aggravated when they squished so far, and it was just a sloppy mess. I didn't like it. I don't have any footage of that. Trust me. The Anchor mount on a 45-degree angle is garbage. I don't think you'll like it. Now I'm doing what I thought I was going to do before I decided to use the Anchor mounts, and I'll show you the kind of mounts that I'm building for this. Super heavy duty, yet they'll still give plenty of, you know, vibration dampening. So, like I said, trying to make some progress. I want to get this sitting here. Right now, this is loose. We're sitting on these two half-inch bolts here. I'm getting ready to take those out and put the mounts that I wanted to build the first time, and we're getting them built now. So I'll lift this up a little bit, get the mounts in there. They're going to be welded mounts with removable insulators in case anything ever wears out. They'll be able to be rebuilt, and we'll get those put in next. at the point of making some bushings for the 4BT. I got a chunk of polyurethane in the lathe right now. You can get a lot of different diameters. You get everything from something real soft to something real hard. The hard stuff machines a lot better, but you give up some of your cushion there. So this is a 90A on the scale, 90A. It doesn't machine the best, even if you went to 95A. 95 is going to machine a lot better than 90. But this is the stuff I like to make motor mounts out of. It's the right diameter, and it gives a little bit more cushion than rubber, but not as much as some of those hard polyurethane mounts out there. So I'm going to drill my hole for my sleeve next, and we got to machine it down for our mount. So I got to take this down. Got to leave the 3-inch diameter and take it down to 2-inch for a ways. But let's drill the hole next. Okay guys, just to show you the durability of polyurethane. This is a power hammer die, and this is my soft die right here. This is polyurethane. Same stuff as this. This is 95. It's a little bit harder. It machines a little bit better. But this has been in the power hammer. It's taken abuse for years and years. There's no cracks. It's not broken. Same stuff here. Like I say, it doesn't machine as well, but it's still, we got it down to size. We're going to put a metal sleeve in there for our bolt, and I got to trim this, and I got to trim this, but the basic machining is done on that, and there'll be two. And we're going to walk over to the 4BT now, and I'll show you what these are going to go into. Okay guys, this is the mount that I was going to put on here, like I told you at the beginning. These are going to be welded on. You see I've got that big 3-inch DOM tube there. I've got a cradle up top. There'll be the urethane in the middle. This is just held on with vice grips, as you can see, and just getting the motor situated. But let's go over to the other side, and I'll show you how the replaceable cartridge is going to look. Okay guys, here's the passenger side. Here's one of my polyurethane. You know, they're going to go in there like that, one on each side. I got to trim everything, but that's going to go in there, and then the top piece will come down alongside that. Like I said, I got to trim that back. So if anything was to ever go wrong with these, you just could take these out and rebuild this. And like I say, I'm not going to bolt it on. Everything's going to be welded, and I just feel better about it that way. But this is roughly what the mounts are going to look like. Like I say, the fluid-filled ones, they just didn't meet my standards of what I wanted this to be like. So this is what we're going with. I got one more to machine. Oops. I got one more to machine, and then we could get things going together, and then hopefully start working on the transmission cross member tomorrow. But this is what they're looking like. Polyurethane. Okay guys, got the 4BT out again. You can see the first half of the mount. 1/4 inch a plate, 1/2 inch through bolt's going to go through there. This is getting welded to the mount. Got one over here too, with plenty of clearance for starter service. Starter could come in and out with no trouble. Now if we go over to the frame, There is one half without the bushings in it. Got to get the bushings out to weld it. And here is the other half with the bushings in it. And the steel sleeve for the 1/2-inch bolt. Let me come around here. And that'll get welded right there. And that's the other half of the mount. So I think you guys get the idea of what's happening here. This is a super heavy duty mount. I know I'm going to be happy with it. I know it's going to take the vibration very well. Like I say, it's the one I really wanted to use to start off with, but I went down a rabbit hole and I started looking at vibration and engineering companies and what they thought, and vibration control specialists and what they thought. And again, I do believe the fluid filled mounts will work if you get the good ones. This Anchor brand from China I thought was going to be okay, but not on a 45-degree angle. Not like that. If you do size the Lord mounts real well and you tell them what kind of weights you're dealing with, whether you're doing a 4BT or a 6BT or something like that, I think they'll work, but I'm not happy with it. And I've used this style mount before in super heavy duty off-road rigs, you know, that were rock climbing and rolling over and stuff like that, and motor mounts always held up. So that's where I wound up, and I'll show you what everything looks like with the motor in there. We've got the motor level, front to back, side to side, and the transmission, transfer case, stuff like that is a little higher than I want it, but the good thing is I'm building the entire body, so if I have to put a bigger tunnel in there, it's not a big problem. And I'll show you the final fitting of that front drive shaft. That was getting close, but pretty sure I got plenty of clearance now. So, got a lot of welding to do. Be back with you in a second. Okay guys, I got the mounts that go on the engine finished up. This is the driver's side mount, and that'll be at 45 degrees. Everything is TIG welded. Yeah, for projects like this, for most projects, I use the TIG welder. I have a little MIG welder. I use that for body panels only. It's got 23 thousandths wire in it. Anybody's thinking of getting a TIG welder in 2026, do it. You save yourself a lot of grinding and stuff like that. Okay, this is the passenger side. It's going to go on like that. Again, everything's all TIG welded through there. I did wind up putting a stiffener in there. I don't know if I showed that last time. It's going to share the load here. And I got some threads in there, and I'll show you what that's for a little bit later on. But everything is fully welded. And I'm going to put these on the engine. And we're going to set the engine in. I'm going to go show you the frame mounts finished up. And here's our bushings. Those will go in there. This for this side, and then there'll be a sleeve through there. So let's go take a look at the frame mounts. Okay guys, here is our passenger side mount. Again, I started with some 3-inch DOM tubing, 2-inch ID, so that's got a 1/2-inch wall thickness. This is a structural piece. I wanted it to be heavy. Made little cradles for it and stuff. I welded everything up. You can see that's not going to go anywhere. And like I say, the bushings could come in and out and stuff if they ever wear out. I don't believe they ever will, but just in case. And there is the driver's side. Same thing. Everything is welded solid, and the mounts are ready to go. Now, when I first put the mounts in with the what do you call them there? The fluid filled mounts. It spread the frame on me. So I quick pulled it back in. I got the monkey on a stick here, and I quick pulled the frame back to where it should be. I am going to put a brace under the engine somewhere to keep the frame from spreading. I also put another clamp on there just in case. I'm not going to get to that, you know, right now. Basically, I want to set the motor in here right now and work on the transmission mount. So we're going to get the motor lifted. We're going to get the plates on the motor. We're going to get the bushings in here, and we're going to set it, and I'll show you what that looks like. Okay guys, seems like it took me forever to get this the mount situation figured out, but we're finally coming off. Okay, we got the full weight of the whole thing on here, and on the last video I showed you everything here: engine, transmission, transfer case, overdrive, PTO. Everything was 1,229 pounds. I showed that on the last video. A lot of guys said that the world was going to stop if I put a 4BT in a CJ3B. It was too heavy, and you know, I'd make a big hole in the earth and everything would go to hell. But here it is in there. Very happy with the mounts. We're gonna give a close up of those in a little bit. That's the full weight on the chassis. I'm gonna get rid of all these straps and everything right now for just temporary. I have a piece of stainless rod here underneath, holding the back of it up. There's not a whole lot of weight here. Those front two mounts are really supporting the weight. You can see I didn't paint anything, I didn't do anything. This is just, you know, to get everything off of the gantry crane. But that's in there. Again, the motor will come out again when the frame's ready to be painted. Other side is looking good. I've got to leave my clamp on there because I don't want the frame to spread. Like I say, I don't have my cross members in there yet. But one step at a time, and this was a big victory getting this finished up. So the weight of everything is sitting on the springs right now. So let me get everything cleaned up, and we'll take a closer look. Okay, guys, here's the front drive shaft. You know, installed. Doesn't have the U-bolts on it, but it's in the yokes. I do have clearance here. I was considering a two-piece shaft, but I don't need that. This front end, when you jack up the front end, the axle comes up a little bit, and then before you know it, the other side's coming off the ground. And I'm going to have some helpers in the back and in the front. I'm going to put the timbrins in here. You saw me on other vehicles, snowblower Jeep. I cut out the frame sections. I put coil springs in there. I made all kinds of stuff like the factory would. The timbrins are better. So there's going to be a helper here, one on the other side, and obviously two in the back. On the original CJ3B welder Jeep, the frame was broken, the leaf springs were broken, the helper springs were broken. Basically the whole back end of that, with the weight of the welder, it just crushed the frame and it snapped all the springs. So that's why we're going to go with the helpers. I don't have those. I'm not putting them in right now. My main goal was to get this situated. I'm going to start working on the transmission cross member next. That's going to get picked up right on this adapter plate. There's a couple holes. It's going to be right about this area on the transmission. I'm going to put the original donut mount on the foot. So there'll be one mount there, two mounts in the center. But I'm going to make a whole new cross member. I'm not going to use the factory one. It's a little too light for my taste. That's what's coming next. The main thing is I wanted to get this situated where I can roll it out of the way and you know, continue on with other people's projects. So it looks pretty good. I'm super happy with the mounts. Again, that is going to be a long lasting heavy duty mount, and super happy with it. And again, it's in the center of the engine above the crank center line. That's the main thing. And not a rubber mount, not a liquid filled mount, but a correct durometer polyurethane mount with a super heavy duty barrel and a very nice mount. So that should last for a very long time. Okay guys, just going to finish up the video here. When I had the fluid filled mounts in there, this particular mount on an angle, it was so squishy. Like now when I rock this engine, I'm really pushing on that engine. That's moving everything. You could see down here, if you zero in on that mount, there's no movement there. That's just a transmission shifter making noise. Okay, now when this was in there, when that mount was in there, this was squishing. So you could just walk up to the engine and it was like jelly. That I did not like that. That's not going to work for me. Again, that's why I went through all the trouble to make these mounts. Your mounts are going to be one of your most critical things on a 4BT going in any vehicle. I went through the trouble of making them in the center. A lot of guys are going to use that front mount and that back mount and a bunch of transmission mounts. Whatever you like to do, it doesn't matter. I'm just showing you what I did. Don't have to do anything like what I did. Do your own thing on your project, but just look at all the factors. Again, if you're going to use a fluid filled mount, I don't recommend the Anchor brand. I won't use these except in the flat position like this. Very disappointed with them on a 45. This is super strong. You could see it's heavy duty, and we're just going to continue on. There's a lot to do with this. I've got to get the radiator fit. I've got to get the grill on there. I've got to get the intercooler in there and get all the piping done. And as you can see, this is the finished height of everything here. This is the finished height. So you see my tunnel is going to be massive. There'll be a big hole in the floor for this, for the belts and stuff, but the tunnel is going to be massive. Not a big deal. Like I say, I'm building the whole body, so it doesn't matter. But it's going to be a little funky looking. So I'll start on the body, and if anybody's interested, I'll show the complete body build. It's entirely up to you guys, whether you want to see it or not. Just let me know in the comments. And as I get time, I'm just going to pick away at this and start building the body one piece at a time. It'll be a complete custom body. It'll look like a 3B. It'll look like a stretch 3B actually, because this is so much longer. But it'll share most of the details of a 3B. The hood, the fenders, the grill, the cowl. I'm going to try and save all those pieces from the original welder Jeep. And then we'll build the back of it custom. It is going to need a crazy tunnel, and you know, as time goes on, I'll show you little by little making all that stuff. But happy where we are right now. This is a rock solid engine, and it's going to transmit vibration very well. So once I get a bunch more stuff done, we can actually fire this guy up now that it's in the chassis, just for a quick run. I won't put too much time on it, but it won't take much to get this guy fired up one day. So that's all I have for you. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hit the like button, subscribe, promote the video if you can, tell a friend, and anybody's interested in the 4BT going forward, just put a comment down below. And if there's anything specific you want to see that I'm doing, just let me know. There's a million things to cover when you're doing a 4BT project. So if there's anything anybody wants to know, let me know and I'll go over it as I pick away at this project. Thanks for watching. See you next time.